Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about Capricorn compatibility. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to talk about Capricorn's compatibility with each of the signs, Aries through Pisces. I'm going to give my own personal rating, either 1 heart, 2 hearts, or 3 hearts. 1 heart being like the worst match, 3 hearts being the best match. That I personally think when it comes to Capricorns, and a little rundown of how I see the relationship going with each of the signs. So this is just a short, hopefully helpful video. Obviously, you can go a lot more in depth with all of this, and I also just want to quickly point out that you can do this with your sun signs, you can do this with your Venuses, your moon signs, but just because like your sun sign is Capricorn and somebody else's is Aries and I say that's not a good match, that doesn't mean that it's not a good match. Like, they might have other parts in their birth chart that really work well with parts in your birth chart and really complement each other in other ways than just like the Venuses or just the sun sign, so just keep that in mind. But let's get into it. So Capricorn and Aries, I'm going to give this match 1 heart. So Aries can kind of be all over the place in Capricorn's opinion, and they get bored easily, making games, relationship games inevitable, which Capricorn really doesn't like that kind of stuff. Capricorns might also not be exciting enough for Aries, and they're too traditional. Capricorn likes to move slow, while Aries just flies, and they're both ambitious though. They're both natural leaders, and that's something that they have in common, but this could create more of a clash than it could help with like their companionship. And the reason I say that is just because they're both natural leaders, they're both ambitious, but they might compete with each other, they might have other things that are important to them instead of each other. Aries can provide a lot of excitement for Capricorn, and Capricorn can provide the stability that Aries might need. So these signs can potentially work, but ultimately there's going to be a lot of tension between the two of them. Taurus, I'm going to give this sign pairing 3 hearts. So these two are both traditional when it comes to relationships, and they're going to appreciate the fact that they can move at the same pace together. They'll like that in one another. Neither is going to really rush the other sign. They just both have to like keep it moving though, they value similar things, like they can both be realistic, they can both work hard, they both consider finances important, and they aren't like frivolous with that sort of thing. Venus and Taurus, Venus ruling over Taurus really helps here to kind of bring in some sensuality, a little more romance. The two could possibly get into a rut. I say that because they might not try to like spice things up, they might get into too much of the same routine every day, but mostly, this is a really easy pairing that kind of makes sense and feels natural. Gemini, I give this pairing 2 hearts. These two can be a good match, even when, least expected, but they have to really compromise with each other in order to make it work. They might feel that they connect to one another initially right off the bat, but they're not really sure why. Capricorn will like Gemini's intelligence, and, they'll kind of find them fascinating. On the other hand, Gemini is also going to be attracted to the fact that Capricorn tends to be smart. They will like that they have a kind of like a secret kinky side. These two will probably have a lot of great conversations. Gemini will encourage Capricorn to kind of lighten up and take things easy. They're both motivated, but Gemini can kind of be all over the place, while Capricorn, really wants that reliability, that stability, that consistency. And Gemini is more like, I want to try this, I want to go here, I want to do this thing. They kind of flit around a little more. Gemini is going to find Capricorn a little boring in that respect and annoying, as they want to experience new things on the regular, and Capricorn will find Gemini's way of doing everything a little bit jarring and just a little too much for them. They can work, like I said, again, they just need to compromise. So Cancer, I'm going to give this one 2 hearts as well. So these two are opposites from each other in the zodiac, and they can definitely attract to one another, opposites can, but they can also clash. These two are both family oriented, and they both appreciate financial stability, and they can connect on these values. Importantly, Capricorn likes to feel needed, and Cancer likes to feel protected. So that's going to really work in this pairing's favor. I don't know what that was. The problem is that Cancers can be very emotional, feeling people, and Capricorns are pretty much the exact opposite, and this leaves Cancer frustrated and wanting more, and Capricorn, they're more overwhelmed by the emotional side of Cancer, and they end up kind of feeling like they need space. And ultimately, as long as they can kind of work through that a little bit, they can be a good match for one another. They can bring about more, Capricorn can kind of help Cancer handle like the overly emotional spells, while Cancer can bring out a little more emotion in Capricorn and help them understand their feelings. Leo. For Leo, I'm going to give this pairing 2 hearts, and kind of like with Gemini, these two are going to feel like this connection to each other that they can't really deny, and it's going to feel like a special connection that they can't really explain and they don't understand that well. You know, if they're going to work out, they're definitely going to need to compromise, but this pairing can last and they can potentially work for the long run. Both are loyal and they both appreciate power and security. They're going to respect one another, and they can be quite like the power couple that other people are envious of. And the reason I say that is because they both really, you know, want to feel proud of who they're with, and when they're together and they both feel proud of each other like that, they kind of want to flaunt it. That's just kind of something the two of them have in common. The problem is that Capricorn, like I keep saying, really likes stability, and Leo on the other hand can be, you know, very dramatic and not that careful. Capricorn can be too careful and not really exciting enough. You know, Leo will find that kind of restricting, because they'll kind of feel like Capricorn's, you know, stepping on their fun, ruining like a good time, but Capricorn feels like Leo can just take things to the extreme and ruin their fun by making it scary, or like they're gonna get into trouble. And that's just like not with like one specific event, but like just in general. They both really want to be the boss of each other. If they could work on that and kind of like come to an understanding when it comes to that, that could work out. You know, they have a lot in common. If money isn't an issue for the two of them, it could really work out. The reason I say this is because Leos can be kind of really frivolous when it comes to money, and Capricorn, that'll just make them crazy. But if they have a lot of money to throw around, they can be extravagant, then they can really have a good time together. So next we have Virgo, which I gave 2 hearts. These signs tend to understand each other. They're gonna like that the other is practical and realistic. They'll both work hard and they'll feel really stable with one another. Like I said with Taurus, because, you know, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus are all earth signs, so there's a lot in common with them, but they're gonna have to put in a little extra effort to keep things exciting in the relationship. Capricorns are not gonna like Virgo's critical side. You know, Capricorns can hide their emotions, but they tend to get hurt very easily on the inside. Virgo won't like how bossy Capricorn can be. They're just not gonna like deal with that. It's not like their thing. They don't want to be bossed around. But ultimately, you know, they're gonna have a lot in common, and they can really talk to each other for hours about all sorts of different subjects, and they'll just really connect on that level. Libra. 1 heart. So both Libra and Capricorn will really appreciate the value in traditional relationships, you know, being boyfriend and girlfriend, being fiancés, ultimately husbands, wives, husband-wives. Like, what am I talking about? No, they really might enjoy the dating aspect of getting to know each other, because they both like to kind of like go out, out to eat, to the movies, like kind of like that whole dating environment is something that they both enjoy. But ultimately, you know, Libras can be very indecisive, and this will really frustrate Capricorn, you know, especially if they can't seem to make up their mind when it comes to like their relationship. Like I said in the Capricorn in Love video, Capricorns don't like games, they don't like vagueness, and Libra can kind of be all about the vagueness. Not always games, but they don't always know what they want, and it could take them a while to like really figure that out, and they're the type to like date a lot of people to try to like figure out who's right for them, and Capricorn like just doesn't like that. Libra, on the other hand, is going to not appreciate the fact that Capricorn will try to control them, especially, you know, if they are being indecisive about the relationship. They won't like being bossed around, and they're both the type that if there's like issues present, they're not the best at talking about it with one another, so that's gonna really just create more tension. Scorpio, I gave this pairing 3 hearts. So these two are gonna feel like an immediate connection to one another. You know, their communication is gonna come really easy to them, and it's gonna surprise the two of them how much they really do have in common. Their opposite features in each other tend to work in their favor when it comes to Capricorn and Scorpio. You know, Scorpio can feel it so deeply at times that it brings them down, and they need help kind of like getting out of that, you know, funk. Capricorn is there for that, and they can, you know, be really helpful and protective, which Scorpios can like. I mean, Capricorns, don't get me wrong, can be depressed and get sad and moody as well, like, trust me. But they tend to have the ability to kind of like pick themselves out of it, because they do, you know, reality, they can just be very realistic about things. And while they might get in like certain funks, like they can typically get themselves out of it. Not always, but I'm just saying they can be very helpful for a Scorpio who just gets so deep into things that they need like a hand snapping back into reality. Capricorn, on the other hand, they always have issues with like expressing their emotions and their feelings, but Scorpio can help them understand and kind of deal with this, you know, in a better way. Both tend to be a bit controlling. Scorpio likes to really have control, while Capricorn likes things their way and can just be bossy. But they actually might enjoy this in one another. Either way, they're gonna have to figure out a happy medium when it comes to the battle of who's in charge. But because, like I said, they have really good communication with one another, they could figure that out and just potentially be a really great couple. Sagittarius, 1 star. So when these two get together, there might be like that instant sexual attraction. They might see something in each other that they don't really see in themselves, and obviously at first that's quite intriguing. Eventually though, they're gonna find it kind of hard to connect and communicate with one another. Like it'll just be hard for them to be successful in those areas. Capricorn will just really be irritated with Sagittarius's flightiness, you know, their non-committal manner, like not wanting to commit to really anything. And Sagittarius won't understand why Capricorn can't just like relax and be spontaneous and go with the flow and, you know, try this new thing and that. And Capricorn's like, no, I want to do this and I want it to be my way and the way that I'm used to doing it. And so they're just going to totally clash in that area. I mean, obviously any pairing can be a couple, but this one is definitely a challenging one. Capricorn, 2 hearts. So Capricorns together, you know, this pairing is probably going to be harder to come by because, like, it's unusual that one would approach the other, you know what I mean? And that they'd eventually get together. I mean, it obviously happens. Both are going to have values that the other appreciates because they're similar in those ways, and things that are important to one will probably be important to the other one. They're going to have so much in common though that it could be good or bad. At first, there's going to be a lot to do and talk about, and it's exciting to like really connect with somebody and understand each other. But then the two are going to find it hard to kind of keep things interesting, keep things spicy, if you know what I mean. Both are inclined to kind of like put too much of themselves into whatever it is that's they're working towards, like whether it's their job, their school, like I said, hobbies, and not each other. You know, they'll put more into that and not enough with each other, and that's just kind of how they are. So it's hard for one of them to kind of notice that and make a change because they're both like that. Also, when it comes to talking about things, you know, like progressing the relationship, discussing feelings, emotions, this is going to be very tough because they both tend to be guarded, and neither is going to really be able to help the other to, you know, let that guard down. Neither is really particularly good at doing that, so that's going to be another challenge for the two of them, but they definitely could be a good pairing. Aquarius, 1 heart. This is a tough match, you know, like with Sagittarius. It's going to be hard for these two to like understand each other and communicate effectively. Aquarius is like a bit of a rebel, and they tend to be, you know, do things in a unique way. This is going to be interesting, of course, at first to Capricorn, but eventually it'll probably make them anxious as they prefer to like play by the rules, and they like to travel the path that's more tried and true, where Aquarius is always going to go down the path less traveled. Neither is really good at handling emotions. They both tend to be cold. Capricorn's really guarded, and Aquarius can be very detached. They're not even going to discuss certain topics because it might just never come up, like that neither is going to bring it up because it's just too awkward or they feel uncomfortable doing so. Initially, like I said, they might find each other fascinating, but it's going to be hard to really keep things going. Pisces, I gave this one 3 hearts. So quite the opposite of Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn and Pisces might find that they hit it off right away with one another, and it's really easy for the two of them to communicate. They really just seem to understand each other. You know, Pisces can be more on the emotional side, but they tend to be more dependent, which Capricorn likes. They want somebody to rely on, they want somebody to help them, and Capricorn loves being that person to be relied on and to help, you know, another person. They like that role. Pisces is gonna like that Capricorn takes care of them and keeps them safe from the cruel, harsh world. Capricorn is really good at dealing like with the realities of life. I know I keep using that word. Pisces hates dealing with that kind of stuff, like paying bills, you know, making appointments. Capricorn likes dealing with that sort of thing because they like to like be organized and structured, and you know, it's going to be good for Pisces that Capricorn can handle that and doesn't mind doing it. Pisces is really good at not letting Capricorn be so serious all the time and like getting too much into everyday stressors. And Pisces can, you know, kind of live in a fantasy world sometimes, and they can kind of help Capricorn to just let go of life sometimes and just like relax and, you know, kind of chill. Can't think of a better word. They can also help Capricorn get in touch with their emotions, and they can be very interesting to Capricorn. You know, if they can balance out each of these sides in each other, like neither is like taking more than they give, then this could be a really great match. So that is Capricorn compatibility. And make sure you check out Capricorn in Love, which I posted on Tuesday if you haven't already. I will see you in my next video, which will be next week, Aquarius in Love, and then Aquarius compatibility. So I will see you then, and hope you're having a good week, have a good weekend, and have a good day or night.